Welcome to this video where I attempt to break down the plot of Intermezzo by Sally Rooney, aka the greatest romance writer of our time, aka the master of turning any situationship into the modern day Romeo and Juliet. So this story is about two brothers, but it's not like the summer I turned pretty situation where we have two brothers fighting for the same girl. No, here both brothers they each got their own girlfriends, or in the older brother's case, two girlfriends. So the older brother Peter, he is a very successful lawyer, but he's very depressed, and his depression gets worse after his father's passing. And he's also torn between two women. On one hand, there's his ex, Sylvia. They used to date back in university. They were the perfect golden couple. Everyone loved them. Everyone wanted to be like them. But it all came to an end when she got into a car accident that left her with chronic health conditions. So she broke up with him. In the present day, they remain friends, but he still loves her very much and he wants to get back with her. And the second woman in his life is a young college girl named Naomi. He buys her nice things, pays for her books, pays for her rent. So he's kind of like her boyfriend slash glucose guardian. And almost every scene of them together will lead to some sort of smut. So yes, this is a very spicy book, but is sad spice, is literary spice. And so he believes that he must choose one woman over the other, that he will be deemed by society deviant if he doesn't choose one woman over the other. So who will he choose? The ex, whom he can have intellectual conversations with about arts, literature, world politics, history, or the young college student whom he has a burning animalistic desire for. We're going to put that on pause for a sec and get back to it. Now, remember when I said that this is a story about two brothers? Well, the younger brother is a 22-year-old chess genius, Ivan. He's awkward, doesn't really understand social structures, social systems. So he's a hot nerd. And one day, this hot nerd, he goes to a chess a chess event, an exhibition. And there he meets this beautiful older woman named Margaret. So Margaret is the director of the art center that's hosting this chess event. And by the end of the night, she drives him to the holiday cottage he was staying at, and he invites her in. She has a moral dilemma about whether or not to accept his invitation, but she accepts it anyway. And so they do the double single by the end of the night. Now, the hot nerd, he's clearly infatuated with this beautiful, elegant older woman. But Margaret is feeling a lot of guilt. She's scared of judgment from her friends, her family, the people in the town, because it's a pretty small town, so everyone knows each other. She thinks to herself, why do I keep seeing him again and again? Is it my vanity? Is it attraction? Or is it something else? In a society where the worth of a woman is often equated to her youth, is seducing a younger man the equivalent of reclaiming back power? Back to the sad lawyer. So Peter proposes to Sylvia, the ex, that they could explore other avenues for pleasure, since sexuality isn't confined to that one act. But Sylvia, she's very firm in her mindset that if she can't do something properly, then she will not do it at all. She gets really upset by this conversation. She starts crying, and Peter gets a text from Naomi's friend telling her that Naomi has been illegally evicted and arrested. So the next morning, he goes over to get Naomi out of police custody. She's still angry about him for ghosting her a few days ago, but what options does she have right now? She's homeless. And so she does what any sensible young woman who's in love with their hot lawyer boyfriend would do, which is to eat his food, use his shower, and live, laugh, love. And Peter, he happily takes on the role of the house husband.
It's all very dove-coded. Her words, not mine.
When you love someone, you want the whole world to know, even your worst enemy and your dysfunctional family. And for Ivan, the hot nerd, Peter is both his worst enemy and his dysfunctional family. So while they're getting lunch one day at this fancy Italian restaurant, doing a little bit of catch up, and he tells Peter that he's seeing an older woman. And this casual announcement ruins all the progress they made so far to be brotherly. Ivan is very suspicious because that's his little brother. He doesn't know who Margaret is. He doesn't want some older woman to be taking advantage of his brother. And so he implies Margaret is not normal. Ivan gets very defensive and he starts saying things like, I hate you, I have hated you my entire life. He storms out of the restaurant and blocks his brother's phone number. So things are not going well in Peter's love life either. During one of his visits to Sylvia's office, she's not there, and her colleagues tell him that she's taking a sick day. He obviously gets very worried because he knows about her conditions. He's been with her to the hospitals many, many times before. So he texts her, he asks her if she's all right, if there's anything he can do to help. She says that she'll appreciate if he can pick up some of her prescriptions and drop them by her door. So he does that, but he doesn't leave them by her door. He enters into her apartment. Ooh, sketchy behavior, but it turns out to be the right decision because he finds her in pain on the floor. So he helps her, he takes care of her, and finally, for once, he's actually being a friend to her. And afterwards, when the painkillers are taking effect, they have a heart-to-heart about their feelings towards one another. They start kissing and a little bit more than kissing. And at this point, I'm really thinking to myself, Peter, you need to learn some self-control and keep it in your preoccupied. He gets a text from Naomi asking when he'd be back. Karma is beautiful. So the sad lawyer is a drunken mess when he gets home. He tells Naomi that they can't continue doing this anymore. The poor girl is heartbroken. She asks him, do you hate me? He's like,
No, I don't hate you. I love you.
Not exactly a good time to be confessing your love to someone when you're breaking up with them and kicking them out of your apartment. So Naomi is like, I won't get in the way of you and Sylvia. Just let me stay. He's like,
No, don't make this harder than it already is.
because he's not totally heartless, he drives Naomi to his recently deceased father's house where he lets her stay there until she finds a place of her own. With Naomi out of his life, he believes that he can start life anew with Sylvia, but things don't go the way he plans. When Sylvia hears that he broke up with Naomi, she's very confused, she's very upset because she doesn't want to be the only woman in his life. She doesn't want the pressure, the burden to be the only woman in his life. And they start getting angry at each other. He's all like, I made the sacrifice for you. She's all like, I never asked you to make this sacrifice. And so things get really heated and he slams something on the floor and she tells him to get out. Who does he think of now? Of course, it's Naomi again. So he travels all the way to his recently deceased father's house where he's hoping that Naomi will comfort his emotional wounds. But instead of finding Naomi there, it is, drum rolls please, his brother. Some context: when their father died, their father's dog had to live with their mother for a while. Their parents have been divorced, separated for a very long time, and the mother has her own family now. But most importantly, the mother is not a dog lover, so every now and then she will call Ivan and remind him that he needs to take care of the dog, that the dog can't stay at her place forever. And so eventually one day Ivan does go and pick up the dog, but since his apartment doesn't allow any pets, so he decides to stay at his father's place with the dog for a while. There he meets Naomi. Now he doesn't know who she is, but she knows all about him. And Naomi tells Ivan that she's worried about Peter. She's worried about the sad lawyer, about his mental health. But Peter, all he's thinking of is, my brother is such a hypocrite. So he criticizes my relationship while he's in an age gap relationship too. Now, with both brothers face to face, what do you think will happen next? A, they practice honest communication and express that they cared and loved each other all along. B, they launch into a dance-off where the loser will drink expired milk. C, they start arguing about their father and get into a physical altercation. If your answer is C, congratulations, you are a genius. So after Peter pushes Ivan on the floor, they're both very horrified by what has taken place. Peter flees the scene while Ivan, obviously very shaken up, he calls Margaret, he starts crying, he asks if he can come over. The next day, Peter stumbles his way back to his apartment where he sees both of his girlfriends. The girlfriends are unionizing. And so he faints. When he wakes up, Naomi explains that last night when she returned to his father's house, Ivan left her a note saying that Peter came looking for her. So she called him, he didn't pick up his phone, she got worried, so she returned all the way back to his apartment, but no one was answering the door. So very desperate, she contacted Sylvia online, and because Sylvia has an extra key to his apartment, this is why both women are in his apartment right now. So Peter makes up with both women. They discuss the possibility of coming to an arrangement with all three of them. The last thing that happens in this book is some months later, Peter is visiting Ivan for one of his chess competition. There he meets Margaret, and he's taken back by her beauty, her grace, her aura, and he's feeling very silly. He's feeling very ashamed about his presumptions about her. They have a nice little chat. Afterwards, when Ivan's competition is finished, he wins, by the way, the two brothers they finally reconcile and make plans for Christmas. The end. At its core, this book is an exploration of love. The love we give, the love we receive, the love that makes us into horrible people, the worst version of ourselves, and the love that feels redeeming and pure and transforms moments into tiny eternities. I must confess, I am a hopeless romantic 99% of the time. In that remaining 1%, however, I don't know if love is worth the heartbreak, and heartbreaks are inevitable. So are farewells. I hate farewells. Sometimes when I meet people for the first time, I can picture myself saying goodbye to them for the last time. Margaret's relationship with Ivan is marked by a sense of impermanence, or at least that's how it feels from her perspective. Because of the age difference, she believes that sooner or later he will get bored, love will pass. After all, she had already been married once. She's scared of hurting him, scared of getting hurt herself, doesn't know which is worse. Yet, despite the uncertainties, the impermanence of it all, she chooses to welcome Ivan into her heart, to experience the miracle of life, the miracle of existing together with him in fullness, to live. And maybe it won't last. Maybe next month or next year, Ivan will meet someone else, a girl, young and slender with long fair hair. And Margaret will have to let him go after all, to bear that, the pain, the embarrassment. Or in 10 years' time, against the odds, they might look back and laugh together